My friends, I hope you're doing fantastic. Today's topic is about why to focus on growth and what's the difference between fixed and a growth mindset. If you're here, I want to celebrate you again. You know, this is my habit to pat you on the shoulder, give you a high five, give you a hug. If you don't want to hug, it's totally fine. Just want to say, really cool that you're here and you actually are open to this, to learn, to scale. And this is already really the answer right there for you. If you're here, you're a growth oriented person. Perhaps you might come from an old world we call the fixed mindset, where people actually are stuck in their own ways and they don't believe they should change. They believe they are right. They believe everything that people tell them that they know better. It's the work of ego. It's the work of self preservation and sustaining yourself, which is good. We should be protected. We should feel protected and we should feel safe. But the thing is, at some point, just like the fisherman has to go on the sea to catch a bigger fish, if all his life he's been catching only small fishes or fish because he was close to the shore, you will realize that you will need to venture out. You will need to venture out. You will need to do something that might be uncomfortable, that might feel challenging. And if you're here, I want to say that it's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel uncomfortable because you will hear me saying this multiple times. You will need to become comfortable with the uncomfortable and become better under fire, better under pressure to deal with challenges and to prioritize what you're going to do now, what you're going to do later. And it's hard. It's really challenging sometimes because you will have to sacrifice what you think might be good to do now compared to investing in something that is long term. And I know you're here because you want to invest in yourself. You want to invest in the future and you want to invest in where you're going. And this is the growth mindset. This is the growth oriented human being who you are. And you want to focus on that. You want to focus a little bit more on the growth. You want to focus on the challenges. And you want to be more maybe proactive in the way you deal with relationships, in the way you deal with your family, your career, your finances. This is all growth. Growth is not this one bucket. You say, okay, you need to have career, you need to have relationships, and you need to have the best cars, the best dresses, best purses. This is growth. For one person, this might mean all the financial means and everything to be, show that you are richer than other human beings, that you have some status. But really, the best, most accomplished human beings I have met in my life who are actually doing financially also really well off are often very humble about who they are. They are learners. They don't always scream the loudest. They perhaps in the back of the room learning for the 10th time the strategies, the challenges, the tactics, how to be better, how to overcome, how to stay nimble, how to be switched on. And I don't want you to be that person. I really want you to be that person who is maybe even more accomplished than other human beings. And perhaps you are already at some point. That's why you're a high performer, you are an achiever. But I want you to go further. I want you to develop more consistency in your habits, more leadership, more impact, more inspiration. And if you're here, there is always room for more and more of the good things, not the cars. Those things will come along the way just because you're doing your work, because you're inspiring, because you're a good human being. But the internal work is super hard to do because we don't always see that. You see the arm, you see the wrist, you see those five fingers, you see the nose, you see the ears, and okay, if I have something on my forehead, I have to wash my face. If I have something on my finger, I should probably clean it because I'm a clean person. But what's happening here inside, we don't always see. We don't always witness the everything that's going on, all the fear. We feel it, but sometimes putting a finger on it, where it comes from, can be very hard. And I have these three things today for you to really keep the momentum going. I keep coming up with these three things, three, six different strategies that help me along the way to stay super proficient in terms of growth. And again, I want you, before we dive into these three things, to do a little exercise. Where are you growing and where are you not growing? Think about the areas in your life which can be really, you know, flowing. They are really good. You're good at that. That can be exercise. That can be that you really focus on your career. It can be focused on good relationships. You're good at calling your mother every Sunday. You're good at bringing your spouse flowers every Monday. But what are the areas where you struggle a little bit? It might be, ooh, I need to really focus more on my projects. It means to spend more time with people I love. It might be, ooh, I'm spending too much here every month. So what is that? And also, where are your weak spots in terms of fixed mindset? Are there some areas where you have been a little bit prone to being obsolete, being, not the, in the marketing term, the leader in your field and in your industry, or being in your own way really a challenger? What could you learn from that? Where are you fixed in your own ways, or where are you fixed in your own ways? I know that, well, you just say this is who I am, rather than taking ownership and trying to implement something better. So this is kind of the pre-sequel to what we're going to talk about now. So if you want to be growth oriented, growth means you go often a little bit, obviously up, but sometimes, you go like this and then you go up. So a lot of times especially if you come from the fixed mindset, you need to relearn something, sorry. And then you actually go up and scale. And then again you go, and it's this, sometimes you go even down, and this is the kind of way how skills work, because you learn something new and you go really suck at it, and suddenly you go up, and then again you start, stuck a little bit on a plateau, and then you go again up or you go down. So this is how growth works. But the first point I want to give you is really developing yourself for the future. This is the vision you want to have, because what you do today will serve you tomorrow. We are so busy as human beings to survive, to thrive right now, that we tend to forget what's happening 10 years, 20, 50 down the road. And I know you might be thinking, hey, why? Look, there is war, there is this, and maybe nuclear threat, or there was just pandemic, and I'm still coping with it. Yes, there will always be threat, there will always be challenges, but you always have to adapt, you always have to grow. So this is what I want to really, really, really challenge you. Think about a vision of yourself 5, 10 years down the road. Who you want to be, where do you want to live, what type of people you want to surround yourself with, perhaps even those cars, perhaps even those purses. You can think about it, but that's not your primary goal. Your primary goal is to develop yourself for the time to be ready for the challenges, to the time you can serve, you can be better for those new career goals. You need to start now, not tomorrow, not the day after, not in 1 week, in 1 year, but now. And this will help you tremendously to mitigate the risk that you become obsolete and you become fixed in your own ways. The second point I want you really, really, and I stress it one more time, really to focus on, guess what it is? It's emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is a topic that too little people talk about, and it's probably the most important thing. The nuances, and that's being sensitive to how other people react. And this character you're building through resilience, through challenges, and you're building resilience, you're building grit, you need to do more of that. The time to prepare for war is when there is no war. And the time, to draw the map is, or to study the map is before you go to the woods. I've been taking in my life kind of two approaches. Sometimes I just venture in the woods and I hope I'm prepared. So, experimenting with stuff is totally fine. But in these times, as you grow, as you scale, as you mature, you will figure out what you like, what you don't like. And there are some things you will need to double down on, whether that's communication, maybe marketing, sales, strategy, go to market strategies, and all these different things that you will learn along the way. And you realize, ooh, I have more neck of this, I want less of that, more of this. And where do I want to be in 10 years? Even if you do nothing and you live in the West, you might do really well. And that might be your objection, because you're like, you know, it's really nice what you're telling me, but I don't really feel like I have to grow. I'm settled, I'm fine. And it's fine. There is no pressure. You can do whatever you want with your life. From my experience, what I've seen, that really work for people who made an impact at a higher levels, they actually challenge themselves to be a bit more prolific in what they do, and they were more proactive rather than just learning on the work or learning on the job. Because I know we are all challenged, we have our responsibility, we have our challenges, and there is always a period of time which is hard. We might have somebody in the family who's sick. We might be challenged at our job, or we just don't know. We are going through the motions, and we don't have the energy. And this is the work we are doing here together. Because what I'm bringing you is this holistic thinking, this way that you are actually better than you think. And as Brandon Burchard says, the future holds good thing for you. So I'm absolutely convinced that even if you don't decide to do anything today and you just follow your path, you will always improve, ideally. But what I've seen in my life, if you take ownership, you say, I want to go here, and you just march to the west. When everybody goes to the east, you go your way. And I encourage you, because you will be happy. You will be more happier than if you let life default into some way of living that everybody else does. So emotional intelligence is built exactly through this: being proactive, being a learner, learning through obstacles, reflection, knowing that things not always gonna work out as you want. And that's also why you want to try to do your way, do your things, and do your way of living. The last point I want to give you is to really focus on yourself. If you do all this growth oriented work, you will start making an impact. You will start making a ripple effect in your friends, with your circle of influence. And on one way, and big way, will be positive because a lot of people will be drawn to you. You will become magnetic because you will be more in touch with who you are. You will understand your ways. You will understand where you want to go. You will understand, okay, I like this, I don't like that. I like these people, I don't like those people. And that's fine. There will be also jealousy. There will be also people who actually will not prefer the mindset way. They will not like the way you think, just because it will challenge them, because it shows them that you perhaps have more means, or you come across as more accomplished, more well-rounded, and it will challenge them in their own ways. So I want to really encourage this thinking for you, that you start thinking about where you're going. You start thinking where you are really building your future self for your own, well, goodness, positivity, and this well of really good well-being. And it will encourage you massively, because the the naysayers, the jealous people will come, competition will come, and you will be very healthily prepared for what is out there, because you're building this character, you're building this foundation of, I am this, I believe in healthy confidence, and not because I need to show suddenly I'm better. No, because you're competing with yourself. You're not competing with anybody else but yourself. When you say today, I will do this, you do that because you promised it to yourself. You promised it to your loved ones, and you have a higher purpose. And again, when the jealousy and competition comes, you will be ready. You can still compete in a healthy way. You can say, okay, I will challenge myself, but you will use everything from this growth oriented mindset to really go after things in a meaningful, purposeful, and sustainable way, rather than just burning yourself out and doing it from ego perspective, just because you need to prove people wrong, prove yourself right. Again, this is work of ego. We don't do that. We do still the work of personal development, the work of growth oriented framework and mindset. And this is where you will not immediately always see results, because you will do a little bit the opposite than what the average human being does, just doing things for the sake of career, doing things for the sake of money. No, you want to go beyond that. You want to create a mission. You want to create a legacy that actually you will get inspired, and you can inspire your kids down the road. So guys, there you have it. There you have the three things, as I told you: develop yourself for a future, develop the vision. This is where making the assessment on a metric from, hey, these are my strong points, these are my weak points, where I'm at, what do I need to improve, what challenges I need to overcome, what are the weak spots that I need to build a bridge across to the other side. This is how you're going to build your emotional intelligence. This is how you're going to become more sensitive to others, receiving feedback, criticism, and say, okay, I actually need to improve, be honest about it. And as a third and final point, guys, I want to encourage you to healthily compete with yourself, not in a bad way, but in a way that you really feel challenged, that you compete with yourself. You say, okay, I've been here a year ago. Where do I want to be in 5 years? Where do I want to be in 10 years? And really see that. Again, you will see that improvement, even if you don't do the work super head on, hard, dedicated. But if you do, you will be super proud because you will develop this vocabulary, this vacancy, and really kind of this holistic understanding of life. And you will become more of a running human being, stronger, sophisticated, able to deal with obstacles and challenges. So I hope it improved you, it challenged you. A little bit longer video out there, a little bit more mumbling and rumbling. So thank you for sticking out this with me and being a learner, being an encourager, being an empathizer, and being a challenger in your own ways. Take it out there. Make sure you build your energy, you focus on it every day, because without energy, you can't sustain where you're going. You need to manage your stress, your anxiety, all these different things that we never learn to deal with as kids or as adults, and then really think about a mission. This is what we're talking about. This is all growth oriented topic, heroism, building our like-minded selves, building the group of awesome people. And this, when you do, life will become better. So until the next time, my friends, stay awesome.